Hello and welcome to Provoking Tech. I'm Zach, and in today's video, I'm going to walk you through on how to adjust your settings in Rainbow Six Siege so that you can have a great playthrough experience with both the gamer tier as well as the pro tier. So without further delay, let's go ahead and get started. If you watched my cloud gaming comparison video on Rainbow Six Siege, you'll likely remember that the gamer tier failed to run and kept on crashing when I was attempting to get into multiplayer games. This is likely due to the fact that with the settings I was using for the benchmarks, it was consuming roughly 4 GB of VRAM according to the settings menu. So with this knowledge, I was able to step back to settings using that handy little VRAM estimator till I got to the point where I was right at 2 GB of VRAM, actually right under 2 GB of VRAM, and I was able to load in the game and play. From there, I adjusted the settings down slightly to get to a point where it was a nice playable experience. So after several iterations of slightly tweaking the quality settings, playing a round of online, coming back and doing another iteration of tweaks, I finally got to the point with the quality settings that you're seeing now. With these quality settings, I believe you have at the very least a great starting point for cloud gaming with Rainbow Six Siege on Liquidsky. My frames on average range between the mid to low 40s to the low 60s, and that's a pretty good experience and a good trade-off between graphical quality and playability. There are a couple settings you can still knock down if your main priority is purely the frame rate, and you could possibly achieve a more regular or possibly more steady experience that's closer to a 60 FPS average. However, I do believe that this is a great starting point, and personally this is where I would play at on the gamer tier, and this does provide a good budget option for cloud gaming. Alright, so it's time to move on to the pro tier, and it's time for a round of Where's Waldo as we look for the quality setting that actually change between the gamer tier and the pro tier. I'll give you a quick hint. There's only one of them, and that is the level of detail quality, which went from a medium to a high setting. So the reason I wasn't too drastic about changing the quality settings is I wanted to focus more on getting a solid 1080p 60 FPS experience and try to get that frame rate to be very close to an average of 60 FPS. And with these quality settings, I think we are very close to achieving that. You might actually want to adjust the quality setting for level of detail back down to medium to guarantee a more consistent experience, but I reached what I thought was a very good experience with the frame rates ranging between the low 50s to the mid 60s for the majority of the frames. So in the end, it's a pretty good experience and one that I was happy with, but you might still want to slightly adjust the quality settings if you are dead set on getting a 1080p 60 FPS experience. Alright, so my final recommendation with Liquidsky, and it's a recommendation I wish I didn't have to make, and I'm probably going to go on to a little rant here, so if you want to, you can end the video. You have your quality settings, but the final recommendation I have is using the Parsec app for the streaming client for the Liquidsky hardware. And that's because for about a year now since Liquidsky moved to version 2.0, there has been weird issues with the streaming client. In terms of latency, it's not a bad application, but it's more on the graphical quality side of things, where every once in a while the image will become pixelated for a second or two, or possibly kind of hang for a little bit. You'll have weird texturing issues. You'll have sometimes where part of the image will become like a weird color and like it'll become green or something like that, like there's errors in the encoding and decoding process. I'm not sure exactly what's going on behind the scenes, but it's definitely an issue with their streamer client, because you can run the Parsec application and using Liquidsky hardware and not have these issues. And it's something that I think Liquidsky really needs to dial down on in 2018 and focus on, because you can have the most powerful cloud gaming machine in the world, but if you have a subpar software experience, you're going to turn people off from cloud gaming in general, but also from your service. And this is going to be something that's going to be very important here in 2018, because we now have Shadow here in the US. Snoost might be coming out of they ended their alpha and have temporary close down services, but they might be coming back anytime now, and could be a very strong contender because they're integrating with Parsec directly. So it'll be interesting to see how that happens. And GeForce Now could possibly in 2018 come out of beta and be open for open signups, and that's going to be a major player in the market. So we're starting to get more competition in the market, and Liquidsky really needs to focus on their software client if they're going to have a chance at succeeding. And it's something I do want to see more competition, because that fosters more special features like what with Parsec's doing, with the ability to co-play and all the stuff they're doing about like sharing your computer and having like co-op local split screen, which not everybody's into, but it's cool to see people, the competition in the world driving that innovation. And I don't want just GeForce Now because they're going to be a massive player because they have backing in NVIDIA. So it's something that I really sincerely hope that Liquidsky focuses on in the mid part of 2018 and dials in, because it's something that they definitely need to do, or I don't see too much hope for them in the future. And I don't like to say that, but they really got to focus on the core mechanics of their platform. And that's why I have to recommend Parsec as a streaming client in the time being, at least. And hopefully that's something that does change in the very near future. All right, so hopefully the graphical quality settings I shared with you will help you achieve a great gameplay experience with Liquidsky and Rainbow Six Siege. And if it does, leave some feedback in the comments below. I definitely appreciate that, guys. Also, if you found this video helpful, give it a big like. I do also greatly appreciate that. And if you're not already an existing subscriber, please smash that subscribe button to stay tuned for more great videos. Thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, Zach out.